Okay, so Kal Kadosh, we're now live. We're recording. This is Siman Tafayin Bet. If you pay attention in Hilchot Pesach, obviously Tafayin Aleph is talking about on Erev Pesach, are you allowed to do work, not allowed to do work? And then beforehand also the Tanit Bechorot. We're going to start with Siman Tafayin Bet, and that's the recordings that you have. You have the different recordings over there because you have the pages of the Mishna Berura. We're going to be reading inside. So we're going to start in Sif Aleph. Shulhan Aruch says, "Yesh Shulchano Aruch mibeod yom, kedei leechol miyad keshetechshach." So Sif Aleph.
Rabbi, I don't see your screen.
You don't see me? Hold on 1 second.
No, I see you, but I don't see the screen where you're reading in. Are you gonna share where you're reading?
I actually put it that everyone should actually. Okay, if you want, I'll share the screen as well. Hold on 1 second.
It's in WhatsApp, Ronnie. You put it in WhatsApp. So you can just move the page and you can see the pages.
Okay, but also if the person wants, you can have it here as well.
Yeah, this is a little easier because WhatsApp, it's on my phone. It's very small. I see it better here if that's okay.
Okay, so you'll have it there. It says here like this: Yesh Shulchano Aruch mibeod yom. Everyone sees my screen, yeah? Yesh Shulchano Aruch mibeod yom kedei leechol miyad keshetechshach. So our table should be set during the day, in order that we should eat immediately when it's going to become nighttime. The af imhu, and even if it's going to be, right, bevet. Sorry, that's on the page. Oh, sorry, next page. And even if it's going to be, I just don't know how to minimize this. Thumbnail video. Okay, there you go. So it says here like this. And even if he's going to be the Bet Midrash, yakum, you should get up. There's a mitzvah to go quickly to eat. Because of the children, which means that there's a concept that the night of Pesach is meant for chinuch. It's meant for children. And therefore, since it's meant for children, it says here, even if you're in the Bet Midrash and you're learning, you have to actually come and realize that that right now you have to stop, and there's a mitzvah to go quickly home in order that the children should not fall asleep. Because the main concept of Pesach is Vigata levincha, for the children, that we should tell over to our children the story of what happened on Pesach, and therefore it's incumbent upon us to go quickly in order to do that. But says the Shulchan Aruch, I'm not allowed to say kiddush before nighttime. Which means even I would have thought, listen, maybe I could do it right early. I'm going to do an early Pesach. It says, no, Kiddush cannot be done before nighttime. Now, obviously, we're going to have to understand why not. But we'll see it right now in a few minutes. Okay, so now let's see the Mishna Berura. Okay, so the Mishna Berura, I'm going back to the first page in the Mishna Berura where it says Aleph, where it says Kedei leechol miyad, which means, right, I'm right over here. You can also see my cursor or not? I don't know if you guys could see the cursor as well.
Yeah, we can see the cursor. We can.
Okay, very good, perfect. So it says, Kedei leechol miyad, lav davka. Lav davka, that has to be that you're eating immediately. He says, v'akavana, just the kavana is, kedei sheyeh efshar lo latchil haseder techef, mishetechshach velo yishteh, which means that a person should be able to start immediately. And it's not that it's going to take us a long time. So this is also one of the reasons why I've mentioned this in a lot of previous shiurim as well. The entire table should be ready before the seder. Now, it's not only the table. It should be also the shiurim. For example, the kezayit. You know how long it takes to start measuring on the night of Pesach? Remember, you're allowed to measure on the night of Pesach because measuring for Tzorech Yom Tov, right, for the mitzvah is permitted. You're allowed to measure. Not with something electric, obviously. We're talking about one of these scale. That's why I usually buy the ones. I'll show it to you, Lina, the next time that we have the shiur. It's a mechanical one, the one that they used in the post office, the good old days. That they used to hang it, right, and used to weigh. So yeah, you're allowed to weigh on Shabbat and Yom Tov. No problem for a mitzvah. However, though, if you're going to start doing that on the night of Pesach, you're not ready. So everything to do with the night of Pesach is preparation. So it says here, lav davka, that you're eating immediately, but rather the kavanah is, she'efshar lo latchil haseder immediately, mishetechshach velo yishteh. That's what he says. Next Mishna Berura says, what happens if a person's in the Bet Midrash? What does that mean? So he's learning Torah, or hu adin, the same halacha would apply to tefillah. Tzarich lezarez atzmo. You have to go very quickly. It says you have to go very quickly. Likro kriyat shema ulitpalel velelech techef lebeto. Which means that of all the times in the year that you're going to learn, the night of Pesach is not the time to learn. Which means there's a time for everything. And now the time is that you're not going to stay there, whether it's praying or saying, you say kriyat shema, tefillah, immediately you go to your house. That's also one of the reasons, by the way, if you remember, I mentioned that the minhag of Morocco was that on the night of the Pesach, we do not sing the Hallel in the Bet Knesset. We read it. Now, why? That Hallel in the Bet Knesset is deoraita. That even women are obligated in it. And even if a woman doesn't come to the Bet Knesset, according to Shitat Rav Ovadia Yosef, a woman is obligated, mina Torah, for that Hallel, and therefore she's obligated. Which means there's not many times women say Hallel. Because think about it. At the end of the day, they're not going to say Hallel on Purim. There's no Hallel. It's a Mikriyat Megillah. Rosh Chodesh, they don't need to pray. The only time in the year where it's an obligation, mina Torah, that women would also come, as if to say the Hallel is the night of Pesach. It says if a woman doesn't come to the Bet Knesset, she would have to say it at home before the Seder in order to actually say the Hallel. So imagine here, right? We are in the Bet Knesset. Usually Hallel is sung. We sing it in the morning. No. The night of Pesach, no singing. You could sing everything else like normal, because it's Yom Tov at the end of the day. But you have to go quick pace. Why? You have to go to the house immediately. The next says in Mishna Berura Gimel, shemitzvah lemaher veleechol. It's a mitzvah to do quickly and to eat. Rotze lomar says mitzvah lezarez, to quicken ourselves, לעשות הסדר, כדי שלא ישנו התינוקות, in order that the children shouldn't sleep. כשידעו שלא ישתה הרבה עד האכילה, when they know that we're not going to wait that long until eating, ישאלו, so then they're going to start asking, מה נשתנה? So they're going to realize, 1 second, usually we sit down on the table, you do kiddush, it's a 2-minute thing, and then we start eating. מה נשתנה? Why all of a sudden we're not eating? ישיב להם, and now it's going to tell you. יקיים בהם מה שכתוב, you're going to fulfill that which is written in the Torah, והגעת לבנך ביום ההוא, that we're going to come and we're going to tell over to our children on that day. However, though, it says you're not supposed to say kiddush before the nighttime. Why can't you say kiddush before the nighttime? Maybe we should do early Shabbat. You know, I'm going to post it, Bezrat Hashem, either later on tonight or tomorrow morning on the chat. We did mention in the halachot that if you're going to be praying by yourself, so you're not allowed to pray earlier than Tzedek Kochavim. Meaning, you could pray mincha. You're supposed to pray mincha before Shekiah, before sunset. But Arvit, if you're praying by yourself, you should pray Tzedek Kochavim, which is nighttime. So you have to wait until 8:05, 8:06, and that's when you're able to pray Arvit by yourself. So we got a special heter from Rav David Yosef that tomorrow night, even if we're going to be praying by ourselves, you're allowed to pray mincha and Arvit early. Which means it's an exception to the rule. Obviously, it's extenuating circumstances, but you're allowed to do that. So I would have thought to say, 1 second, why don't I do this lechatchila? Lechatchila comes the night of Pesach. I don't want my children to fall asleep early. They usually go to sleep at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Here they're going to, so what am I going to do? I'm going to pray an early, do before and after Plaga Mincha, and then afterwards have them do it. That's the best way possible. He says, no, you're not allowed to say the Kiddush even before. Why? Rotze lomar means to say, don't say, since it's a mitzvah to quicken ourselves, to hasten ourselves, we should start the Kiddush and Agadah during the day, just like we find by Shabbat and Yom Tov that you're allowed on a regular Shabbat to accept upon yourself early Shabbat, especially we're talking about obviously with Minanim and everything. You could do whatever you want, whatever time, from Plaga Mincha onwards, right? So he says, or Yom Tov as well. You could even eat during the day. So if you could actually eat during the day, what's your problem? The Kanab Siman 7 Kamashmalan comes to teach you Legabe Pesach, to do with Pesach, Enoken. You're not allowed to. Why are you not allowed to? If you shachilat matzah, uksha lePesach. It says the eating of the matzah was uksha lePesach, was actually made a juxtaposition to the Pesach. Shneimar, but it says in the Torah, al matzot umrorim yocheluhu. So therefore it comes out that the Pesach was just supposed to matzot umurim, to do a matzah. The Korban Pesach, even if the Korban Pesach, they started doing the shchitot and everything during chatzot, whatever, the Korban Pesach was not eaten until nighttime. You only started at nighttime, right? So therefore, what happens? The Kiddush tzarich liot b'sha'ah haruya lematzah. So the first reason is, one second. I'm doing Kiddush. I cannot do the Kiddush before I'm fitting to eat the matzah. So therefore, just like the matzah, which was given as a juxtaposed to Korban Pesach, just like the Korban Pesach, I'm not allowed to eat during the day. It has to be eaten at nighttime. So to matzot has to be eaten at nighttime. So the same halacha applies to the Kiddush, that the Kiddush has to be done during the nighttime. Why? Because the Kiddush has to be fitting for the Korban Pesach. So therefore, for the matzah, and that was juxtaposed to Korban Pesach. So therefore, each one is a domino effect. The Odom, furthermore, a second reason. Listen to the second reason. The koshel Kiddush, the cup of Kiddush is the first of the four kosot. The kulu batara gadal matzah umaror, right? Gride, and everything was going after whether it's gadal matzah umaror, which means I've gone out twofold. Two reasons why I'm not allowed to do Kiddush early. He says, why am I not allowed to do Kiddush? Everything else should be prepared beforehand. I should be able to come home and start the meal immediately, no problem whatsoever. However, though Kiddush cannot start beforehand. He says, why? Two reasons. First of all, the Kiddush has to be fitting, meaning the Kiddush is the beginning of the Seudah. So my Seudah has to be fitting that I'm able to start eating matzah immediately. So even though you're right, when do you eat matzah? Only by Motzi matzah. You're going to eat in another after, think about it, you already passed, right? You still start, right? How do you start? You start with Kadesh, Shulchat, Karpat, Yachat, Magid. You already passed Magid. By the time you get to Motzi matzah, it's 2.5 hours into your Seder. So, right, so what do you care? I should be able to start at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'm going to eat my matzah at 8:30. 8:30 is after Seder Kochavim, after nightfall. Says Halacha, no. Why? The Kiddush has to be sitting, which is the beginning of the Seudah, has to be fitting for me to eat matzah. And therefore here it's not fitting for me to eat matzah. Second reason, says the Mishna Berura, and he comes and he says as follows. He says, you want to know another reason? He comes and he says, like this. He comes and he says as follows. He says, the kos of Kiddush itself also needs to be nighttime. It's one of the four kosot. This is why, by the way, halakha l'maaseh nafkamina, which is very, very important just for us to know as well, right? What happens is that we have to realize that, think of it this way, when we are coming and doing the cup of Kiddush, we always have to have in mind what type of mitzvah we're doing. So on the night of Pesach, it's a twofold. We're thinking about to ourselves, what type of mitzvot are we doing? So he says, you know what type of mitzvah we're doing? When I'm going to pick up the cup on the night of Pesach, on another cup here, right? Whatever it is, right? And he says, I'm going to pick up the cup on the night of Pesach. I'm going to have in mind this cup is a cup of Kiddush, plus this is the first of the four kosot. So it's very, very important for us to know that we have two folds of the mitzvah. And that's what your kavanah is supposed to be, which means, right, this is the cup of Kiddush and the first cup of the four kosot, which again is very, very important, halakha l'maaseh. So that is the first of the seifim. Okay, now, b'diavad. Okay, I'm quoting you now. This is basically based upon the Chazon Ovadia and others as well. B'diavad, if you did Kiddush even during the day after Plag HaMincha, you are Yotzei Chovah. So now, why is this so important? Right, this is so important because, for example, right, this is important because sometimes it happens that, for example, I'll give you the best example. My father is a mashkiach in Toronto, in Bet El. Bet El is an old age home. Now, obviously, for the old people, you're not going to do for them a seder at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. You understand? You're not going to do that. So here it's telling you the b'diavad, which means b'diavad, if you're going to have a person that they did Kiddush early, and they do the seder early. So even if they're going to do it from Plag HaMincha, you Yotzei Chovah. B'shat hadachak, in pressing times of need, yachol lekedesh mi'bod yom afilu lechatchila. Sometimes you can even do it lechatchila. So therefore, for the old age home, for example, if they've got a choice whether we're going to do the seder, we're going to do it at nighttime, you're going to have three, right, old people there, right, or you're going to do it, let's say from Plag HaMincha, which Plag HaMincha is much earlier. For example, here, think about it. Plag HaMincha here was around, I think it was 6:15 or something like that. So 6:15 is still okay. So even if you're going to start Kiddush from 6:15, you would even be able to permit it lechatchila in extenuating circumstances. However, though the other mitzvot, if you're going to do it meaning after Plag HaMincha but too early, he says you have to do it again. However, if you did it during Menach Mashot, So then, which Ben Ashmashal, remember, is between sunset and nightfall, right? So then the diavad, he says it's going to be okay. However, though, he says, but don't make a bracha on it. So here, basically, it's coming out like this. One more time, okay? Lichatchila cases. So lichatchila cases is you do everything after nightfall. So if nightfall tonight was 8:06 or 8:07, that means that 8:07 is the earliest time that you could start, whether it's going to be the kiddush or all of the mitzvot. But diavad, you didn't realize, and you started it already at 7 o'clock, even at 6:30. As long as it was after Plag Mincha, the diavad, you're okay. In extenuating circumstances, you could do that lechatechila. Now, what about the other mitzvot? So he says, listen, to do the other mitzvot, he says everything that is going to be like the doraitas and everything, for sure you have to do it at nighttime. There's no doubt about it. So what's doraita? The matzah and the maror, right? The matzot, it's doraita for sure. The matzah is 100% doraita, right? So you have to eat the matzah 100% at nighttime. But everything else, even if you were going to do it, you wouldn't make a bracha. So again, if magid is going to take you an hour or whatever, that already, even if it's going to take you an hour, many times it'll take you much longer than that, but at least that saves you from time. So that's very, very important to understand that. Now, another thing that's also
I'm just curious. Does the rabbi recall offhand why is it that a yachid can't take Shabbat, can't pray early while at home? I know you said that now it's extenuating circumstances, but if it weren't, is it because the community has not yet taken Shabbat, so you as a single member cannot take it earlier than the community? Because this happens to me a lot. I get home late from work, you haven't started praying, and I pray on my own. Do you remember why is that I can't pray on my own early?
So it's not only on Shabbat. It's actually during the week as well, which means like this. I just had this conversation recently with someone, which happens now, right? The Beit Knesset are closed. So what are we supposed to do? We should say Mincha at the time of the Tzibur, and we should say Arvit at the time of the Tzibur. So let's say I'm going to say Mincha, everybody the latest that they could say Mincha anyway, let's say 7:15, 7:20-ish, because Shekiah is going to be at 7:32, 7:34, whatever it is. Okay, so everyone's praying Mincha at the proper time. Perfect. What about Arvit? So Arvit, right, the Lechatechila time for Arvit, according to everybody, is Tzeta Kochavim, which means in a perfect world or perfect society, or even Halakha L'Maaseh, according to the Gaon Vilna. And the Mishna Berura actually brings down this Gaon Vilna and the Biur Halacha, and he says, according to Shitat Gaon Vilna, let's say we're back in a month ago, we're in our normal Beit Knesset, there's no viruses, no nothing. Okay, there's nothing, completely nothing. And we are going to be over there. And we're perfect, right? Right now, I'm going to come and I'm going to say Mincha and then Arvit, whether it's talking about in summertime, that we're doing before and after Plag, or wintertime, before and after Shekiah, according to the Gaon Vilna, you do not pray with us. You're going to go home and you're going to pray by yourself. When? Tzeta Kochavim. Says the Biur Halacha, he brings this down. Now, in the Piskei Teshuvot and others, the Grot Moshe brings down, you're not allowed to do like the Gaon Vilna unless you always do everything like the Gaon Vilna. However, though, if a person's by himself, he must do like the Gaon Vilna. Because praying after Shekiah was a leniency. Just like, so therefore, it's not a contradiction, which means, do you know that we've spoken about this many times, that you're not allowed to pray Mincha and Arvit in the same time frame? Because Mincha is supposed to be said during the day. Arvit is supposed to be said during the nighttime. So for example, let's say I did today Mincha and Arvit in the Beit Knesset. Remember, forget about now, we're talking about 3 months ago. In the Beit Knesset, I do Mincha and Arvit at 7 o'clock. I started Mincha at 7, Arvit I did at 7:15, Shekiah at 7:30. What I just did was I did a contradiction. What's a contradiction? I said Mincha, meaning that it's daytime, and then I said Arvit, meaning it's nighttime, but you're in the same time zone. You're in the same time frame. So that's a contradiction. That for sure is out. That we're not talking about that. Even without doing a contradiction, the fact that I'm doing before and after Plag, which is Mutar Lechatchila, right? Before and after Plag Mincha, or before and after sunset, which is also okay, meaning I'm not making it into contradiction, but the best thing to do is always to do it 100% nighttime. And that's why we actually used to do it in the Beit Knesset. We used to do Mincha, then Shiur, and then Arvit during the winter time. Why? Because the Arvit was 100% Bizmanah. The only thing is, not always can you have the perfect scenarios. So therefore, we change it. But the Lechatchila time always for a Yachid is that when you're doing arvit, it has to be done in the proper time. Proper time is nightfall. So therefore, in a normal scenario, right, forget about Shabbat, right? In a normal scenario, tonight, for example, you're going to pray Mincha at 7:15. Arvit, you're not allowed to pray before 8:06. Because if you're by yourself, you don't have the heter of the tzibur. When you're in a congregation, we have special powers. You have special leniencies and special things that you don't have when you're on your own. When you're on your own, no, you have to pray at the proper time. Proper time is 8:06. 8:06, you're praying. And that was also what Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef sent out. If you remember, because he sent out the letter saying that when you're going to pray, even if you can't pray with a tzibur, right? Let's say there's going to be one tzibur, you're going to find a place that there's no coronavirus in Honolulu, right? And they're going to be over there and they're praying with minyan. I could call in, right? And now I'm listening. And by me listening, I'm at least getting a menim, I'm getting everything, but I cannot pray with them because I'm by myself. They're with a tzibur. They could pray arvit right after the time. I'm not allowed to pray. I have to listen to them. I'm going to listen to who. I'm going to answer. I'm going to do everything. But the actual praying is going to be at 8:06. 8:06 is when I can pray. Okay? So that was the Sif Aleph, which is very important. I don't know how I got this red thing all over my Mishna Berura here. Okay. Sorry. Okay. You guys see a red mark on my screen?
If you go to the top, you have the options more, or to the inferior left, you'll see a little pen. Click on the pen and it gives you options to clear it.
Oh, one second. But where I'm in, you're
Zoom.
on Zoom. So let me go back
Zoom,
to Zoom.
yeah.
So
you're on Zoom.
Let me go back to Zoom. Yeah, here's Zoom. No.
Should give you an option to write on the screen, because mistakenly you pushed something and you wrote on the screen. But maybe doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. I don't know how to get back into it. Oh, here it is. More. No. Annotate. Annotate. Clear all drawings. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's go. Now says the Mishna Berura, Sif Bet. Okay, so Sif Bet says like this. So basically the Seder, your table on the Seder should be a beautiful Seder table. Right? You should have kelim na'im kefi kocho according to what you can do. So you should always prepare your seat in order that you should do a seba derech cherut. So the truth is, right, this is what I use, this chair. I don't know if you can see my chair. I don't know if you can see. This chair, the computer chair, whatever type of a chair, a nice chair. You prepare yourself, you have the armrest, and you have everything that it should be prepared. Why? Because you have to do a seba derech cherut. When we get to the halachot of a seba, right, which we're going to speak about soon, we have to remember that you have to lean on your left. If you're going to lean in the middle of the air, it doesn't count, okay? So therefore, you have to make sure that you either have an armrest. Some people do it on the table, even though it's not as polite, but you have to prepare yourself. So first, halakha number one, yiseder shulchano yafeh bekelim na'im kefi kocho. That's number one. Number two, v'yachin makom hashavo she'yeshev etzva derech cherut. You have to prepare your chair in order that you should be leaning like you're a free man. V'afilu ani, says the Rama, even an ani she'en lo karim, that he does not have any types of pillows, yeshev l'sasal, he should still sit on a bench. Okay, so now let's see what the Mishna Berura has to say on this. Mishna Berura says like this: Bekelim na'im, ve'af agav b'chol hashana tov l'ma'et b'zeh. Says 1 second. Throughout the entire year, you should never have your table with an illustrious, beautiful table like this. Why? It says mishum zecher l'churban. Right? We have to remember the Churban Bet HaMikdash, which means according to the halakha, throughout the entire year, you should always have one place empty on the table. Meaning, don't fill the table that you have nowhere where to put anything. Why? Zecher l'churban. To remember the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. He says, Belel Pesach, on the night of Pesach, mitzvah leharbot. It's a mitzvah to have even more so. To have a beautiful table. He says, why? Shezeu bichlal derech cherut. This is part of the cherut. This is part of the being a free man. So here it's something beautiful. It says over here, u'mitzvah linhog serara belel Pesach. He says there's a mitzvah to act in a form of authority on Pesach. He says, ובזה יכופר מה שנהג שררה וגאווה כל השנה. Sometimes we overexert authority, right? And he says, if you want an atonement of exerting authority throughout the year, on the night of Pesach, you have to have authority. Because that is the true time when we're supposed to be cherut, which means only on the night of the Pesach that we're free. And we're free from everything. We're free from the Yetzer Hara. We're free from all the things that we have around us. There we have to act with authority. We are kings. The children come, they bring to the table, whether it's the bowl with the Netilat Yadayim, they bring it to the Baal HaBayit, right? Everyone's pouring for you. That's when it's permitted for us to act like big kings and like everything else. So that's what we're actually supposed to do on the night of Pesach. Ve'amru al ha'maharil. So they said on the Maharil, shekshiayu biyado mashkenot shel nochrim kelim naim. Many times they would lend out money or lend out things. So they used to have collaterals, right? Guarantees. So these collaterals were beautiful utensils. Lo ya mishtamesh b'hem b'shum pa'am. He would never use them. Why? It's not mine. It's a collateral. It doesn't belong to me. But what happened? בפסח היה מנהגו לשים אותה לשולחן מיוחד לשמוח בראייתם. On Pesach, he used to put them on a vitrina area, like on a place, so he's happy by seeing them. Meaning on the night of Pesach, it's a special time that we should take out all the beautiful utensils. Take out all the beauty, the glory. That's when we're supposed to really be met, come and see what it is. By the way, you should know if we're speaking Musar, right? This is not the Musar class, it's more Halacha, but this just shows you what it is, the concept of visualization, of how we're supposed to have the setup of the room, the setup of everything around us, how important it is in order to enhance our night of Seder. Because if not, you could say, what do I care? Maybe I only care about the Divrei Torah that I'm going to be saying. It's a nice Divrei Torah, or the good soup, or whatever it is that my wife made. No. The entire setting has to be beautiful. The entire setting has to be set up for that. Okay, so that's very, very important. Okay, the next halakha, he says, is as follows. He says, what does it mean? Sheyeshev be'eseba. You have to lean, right? What does that mean? Rotzelomar rosho mutal letzad small. Your head has to be inclined on the left, alamita on the bed, or la safsal, or on the bench. Ve'karim tachat rosho etzel shulchan. And you have what we call pillows underneath your head by the table. Okay, so now, what does this mean exactly? So here I have a footnote brought down, and it says, Rosho v'chelek gufo ha'elyon. It says it's not just enough the head. Because if you read the Mishna Berura, the Mishna Berura says, Rotze lomar. Now, if we're ever going to learn iyun, right, or in depth, whenever it says Rotze lomar, it's coming to exclude something. Right? That's why Rashi, when Rashi says Rotze lomar, it means I could have said something else. So what am I coming to say? Says the Mishna Berura, the head. So if I'm going to ask you, where exactly is the heseba? If you're going to tell me the body, I'm going to tell you, where's that written in the Mishna Berura? There's nothing here written in the Mishna Berura. Mishna Berura says, Rosho, your head. So it means, what is heseba? The head. The rest of the body doesn't matter. Comes here and he says, it's not so. Rosho v'chelek gufo ha'elyon. It has to be the top part of your body. The inclination of the top part of your body, including the body. Which means if you're going to come and you're going to move or you're going to incline only, right, the head and not the body, you haven't done it as seba. So therefore, just doing like this is not enough. Some people actually do both, you should know. Some people do like this, but if you're inclining the body, where's the head? Right? The head is not tilted. The head is with the body. So therefore, some people will actually do both. But it's very, very important, though, we have to realize that we have to incline. Okay? Now it says over here.
Don't call me after you choke when you.
You should know one thing, right? There's with
that graphic demonstration.
Oh, okay, fine. But listen carefully. There's a Shulhan Aruch that says, Siman Kuf Ayin, if I'm not mistaken. He says, En mesichim b'shat ha'seudah. Yeah, you're not allowed to talk in the middle of the Seudah. Says why? The Gemara brings down Shem Yadim Kaneh Leveshet. Because maybe the food, instead of going down the esophagus, they will go down the trachea, right? Which means that it's going to become a sakana, right? It's going to go, instead of the food pipe, it will go to the windpipe, and it becomes a sakana. So everyone asks, 1 second, nowadays, everybody talks in the middle of the Seudah. You're right, when your mouth is full, so it's not polite. So don't talk with your mouth full. But then say, when was the last time? Imagine right now you're going to invite guests to your house, right? And mudo, right? Nothing, right? No talking, right? They're going to come, sit down, eat, no talking. What happened? The Rav Chida comes and he answers it. He says, you know why? He says, because of this halacha. He says, once upon a time, how would everybody eat? If you looked in the old culture, right, they used to eat always on benches or on beds. That's how they used to eat. They used to eat leaning. He says, when they used to eat leaning, it was a sakana. Nowadays that we eat sitting up, there's no sakana anymore. So he says, because of that, throughout the entire year, we're allowed to talk during the Suda. But on the night of Pesach, you can't talk in the middle of the Suda. But that's only if you're also leaning during the meal. But you're not obligated to. It's rez meshubach. It's praiseworthy, right? But it's not obligated to. Okay, so that's you understand if you want to know about that. Fine, very good. Next. Yesev la safsal ken tzarich lomar. It means that you're leaning on the safsal. Ultzad smolo. And again, always on your left side. Right? There's actually even a question to do with the righties also. But this to do with everybody, we always lean on the left. Now what happens if you have no safsal? You're sitting on the floor. So it says, Gam ken, the same halacha would apply. Sorry. Gam ken, tzarich la'asev al tzad small. So he said, all kavu poskim, another thing, tim somecha small bilkech chavero, gam ze mikre seba. Right? Maybe nowadays I'll tell you not to do this. Yeah, but basically, right, if you're going to be leaning on your friend's lap, so he says that's also called a seba al pi adachat, right? Aval lo al bilkech small. Which means like this. If I do like this, what does it look like? It looks like I'm worried. Right? People, when they're worried, what do? You do like this. So if you're doing like this, it doesn't count. Because that doesn't show that you're being not haughty, but you're being like uplifted. That shows that you're worrying. So on your own knees, it doesn't help. But on the knees of your friend, it is going to help. Okay? So that's going to be considered doing a seba. Now, I will tell you over, there's a Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul. Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul comes and he says, how are you supposed to do the leaning? He wants to say that you have to be on a 45-degree angle. If I remember correctly, I don't have the Rav Ben Zion here. I could actually check it if you want. But that's what I recall, right, that you would have to actually do it in that case. Okay? So that finishes off Sif Bet. Sif Gimel, Shulhan Aruch. Okay? Kishu Mesev. So whenever you are doing, again, we're up here in Gimel. So it says when you are right now doing a seba, you shouldn't lean on your back, not on your front, not on your right, but only on your left. Says the Rama, there's no difference between a lefty and a righty. Meaning, not because usually in the majority of the halachot, lefty, I'm a lefty. So in a lot of halachot, right, there's actually even a book by Chaim Kanievsky. There's Otzar Piskei Sidur by Michael Peret. There's I think like 80 or 90 different cases, right, between lefties and righties. Which hand do you put on tefillin? Do you put on tefillin on both hands? Which hand do you wipe yourself? Which hand do you give tzedakah? Which hand do you hold ulavin? Which one of the etrog? Which one do you hold a cup of kiddush? Which one are you going to hold any type of food that you're going to make a bracha on? There's which shoes do you tie first? Because first you always do right and left and right. But there's some 80 or if I remember the Otzar Piskei Sidur of Michael Perez, I don't have it. But I remember one seeing in Venezuela, it had like some 80 differences between righties and lefties in halachot. Here the Rama is coming and telling you mefurash, there's no difference. No difference between a righty or a lefty. You're always going to lean on the left. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Mishna Berura says, and by the way, on those words, right, where it says basically, okay, we're going to see now in a few seconds, okay? It says in the Mishna Berura, lo yateh. It says, why are you not going to turn? Because if you're going to be on the back or on the front, that's not derech chirut. Freedom, to show that you're a free person, has to be on the left side. The lo el yamino, not on the right side. The lo shema heseba, but it's not considered a seba. Kevan shetzarich le'echol b'yamino, but you have to eat with the right hand. So it's not considered heseba. Meaning, if I'm going on the right side, right, I'm leaning on the right side and I'm eating like this, it's not the same thing. So he says, right, ve'od tam acher, and another reason, the shema yadim kaneh leveshet. Here you do have the problem of the esophagus and the trachea. He says, why? The veshet hu b'tzad yamin. Because the veshet, the esophagus, is on the right side. When When you're going to put your head towards the right side, niftach hakova shel pi hakaneh. There's the how do you call it? Okay, Ronnie, you help me. The how do you call the thing?
There's
that
a valve.
The valve. So the valve, which is that's the kova here, the valve which is going to be on top of the trachea is going to open up by itself. And then what's going to happen is that the food will come into it. And it's going to come to sakana. So therefore, it's not good to lean on the right side because you're putting yourself in danger. So you're not. So two reasons: either because it's not considered cherut, or the behemet is a sakana, and the entire purpose was not to get into a sakana. The next one, Yudalet, there's no difference between a righty and a lefty. Rotzelomano means to say the gamiter tzarich lasev a small kol adam, but a lefty also has to do like every other normal human being. The afagav do ochel tamid b'smol. Now, 1 second, a lefty always eats with his left hand. So if so, according to the first reason that we brought down, we should have said the opposite. Which means there are two reasons brought down in the Mishna Berura. According to the first reason, there's a nafkamina of which one should you actually do it or not, which means which one are you going to have it or not, which are you going to do it on the right side or the left side. According to the first reason, if it's the entire concept of which hand you're eating with, so a lefty should do it behemet on the right side, right? The opposite. He's doing the right side, now he's coming, it's beautiful. This is exactly the way he's supposed to do it. He's doing the right, but if you're a righty, imagine right now you're a righty, and you're doing, sorry, let me just move around. Right, you're moving like this, on the right side like this. That's cherut. That's not cherut. I'm eating like, I don't know what. It's like I'm not comfortable. That's not cherut. Cherut is, if I'm like this, and now, I'm a king. Right, that makes sense. So if you're doing that with a lefty, the same thing, the lefty should have been like this. On the right side, I'm eating like a king. If I'm going to have to do with the left and like this, I'm not comfortable now. But he says, but there was a second reason. What was the second reason? The second reason that we had is what we just mentioned now, which means that we have a concept of sakana. So he says, but this reason is better for us. Why? A sakana is even worse than isur, which means we have to be more stringent when it comes to do with things of sakana, even more, which is things of danger, even more than isurim. So therefore, what's going to happen is now you're going to eat with your right hand like another person. However, though b'diavad, if I, as a lefty, did eat on my right side, I was yitzeh chova. Yamin shelo hareu kismon kol adam. Because at the end of the day, I am yitzeh chova b'diavad. Which means for you guys or anyone else that is a righty, b'diavad it's not going to help. But for a lefty, if he did it, it is going to help. So on this, I have also V'chem Pasak Maran Rosh Yeshiva. So this is the Ish Matzliach that he passed in the same way. The Ish Matzliach was passing the exact same way that also that there's not going to be a problem, which means and also the Chazon Ovadia Hilchot Leil Pesach Hamutet. So b'diavad, if a lefty is going to eat on the right side, b'diavad he's okay. Okay, which means that the post factum he's going to be okay. Sif Dalid. Sif Dalid now is another very important halacha. Okay, and it says like this: Isha ena tzricha heseba. Okay, I think we're actually gonna finish with this sif. Okay, it says like this: Isha does not need heseba. Isha does not need to lean. Ela im ken chashuva, unless she's an important woman. Says the Rama, right? V'chol hanashim shelanu mikre chashuvot. All our wives are considered important. I think you see the difference between the Sephardic and the Ashkenaz already coming into place, 100 years ago, yeah? Just take this out of the recording, yeah? So he says hundreds of years ago, right? We already see that for us, it only depends if she's important. For the Ashkenazim, they're more important than the husband. So he says, they're all considered chashuvot. Says the Rama, however, though, lo na'agu le'asev. He says they didn't have the minhag of doing a sebat. There's a famous Ravia that he says bizman hazeh en la'asev. Says the Ravia, think about it. What's the purpose nowadays to do a sebat? That shows you you're a free man, right? A sebat is something in the past. So why are you going to come now and do it nowadays? So because of that Ravia, right? Is again we don't postulate like that Ravia, but because of that Ravia, what's going to happen is that that's why the women don't do it. That means even though they should have done it, because they're considered chashuvot, they're not going to do it. So let's see here it says over here in the footnotes, here, on the words, v'chol hanashim shelanu mikle chashuvot, it says over here, v'chen ha-minhag pashut ben ha-sfaradim, shegam hanashim mesibot, which means, nowadays, says the Kaf HaChaim, nowadays all Sephardic women do a seba as well. However, though, b'diavad, if they didn't do it, right, they were yotzei chovah, v'en tzarich lachzor v'lishtot, the Chazon Ovadia. Which means, women nowadays, Sephardic, right, when we're talking about Sephardic, you have to remember that they are obligated to do it. Meaning, if a woman's going to ask you, should I do a seba? You're going to tell your wife, yes. But the avad, if she didn't do it, it's okay and she doesn't have to drink again. Meaning, by men, remember, very clear, by men, if a person did not do a seba, you have to do again, drinking again, and you have to eat again. And it doesn't matter which type of eating or which type of drinking. You didn't drink the cup while leaning, you have to drink again. You didn't eat the matzah leaning, eat again. You're going to have to do it again. By women, they don't have to. Why? Because they have this leniency. Okay? Now, says the Mishna Berura, okay? Says the Mishna Berura as follows. It says as follows. En tzarich seba. What does that mean? The stam isha en darka leaser b'shum pam. Normal women, they never do a seba, which means they would never do it at all. But then it says bizman hazen laser. Says this is talking about again the Ravya that nowadays nobody does a seba, that's why women wouldn't do it. The reason is because it's not normal. If it's not normal throughout the entire rest of the year to do a seba, but he sits normally, so what's the problem? Right? Nekuda. Dot. Right? Now it says like this. What happens with an avel? A person that's sitting in mourning, whether he's in the 12 months of the father or the mother, or the 30 days for other family members. Kigon, right? So he says over here, Shak Rovim. Kigon Shilon Ahad Shiva Lifna Regel. Right? So he says, for example, he didn't do Shiva before the Regel. That means he didn't sit Shiva. Ashu Chayav Be'seva. Right? He's going to be Chayav Be'seva. Mikomakom Anachon Shelo Yesev Al Mita Kivuda V'Krula. Yesev B'Shinui Ktsat. He should do a Shinui. Dehainu Al Mita V'Tar Echad Tachat Merashotav or Al Bikeh Chavero and somebody else's. Which means, here what's happening is, right, which, let me just check over here to make sure. Right, okay, you have to do a seba. So here what he's trying to say is like this. If a person is an avel, right, at the end of the day, how much, not show off, how much can he show, right, that we're talking about the cherut? He's in mourning. So because of the mourning, what he's supposed to do is that he's going to do it at a shinui a little bit. Which means he's not going to do it in a beautiful bed, or he's going to do it shinui, right? So that's halakha number one, okay? And here it brings down umishohu onen bar minan b'leil Pesach. That was talking about an avelut. What about aninut? Remember, the difference between avelut and aninut is that an onen is somebody that passed away, they didn't bury them yet. So what happens if somebody passed away, it was mamash a half an hour before Pesach, they weren't able to bury them. So now they're onen. So in aninut, it says over here b'leil Pesach, if they're going to bury him the same night, he's patur from everything. However, if they're only going to bury him the next day, so then there's no aninut chalalav, and he's obligated in all the mitzvot. But he himself shouldn't make the brachot. Other people should make the brachot for him. And also the Agadah and the Alel, it's better that he shouldn't say it himself. Other people should say it for him. That's what's brought down in Chazon Ovadia. So nowadays, anyway, other than you're never going to have on Yom Tov, the only place in the world where you had burials at nighttime or Yom Tov. So at nighttime in Eretz Yisrael, they still do it, and in Gibraltar, they still do it. On Yom Tov, I don't think they do it in Israel, but in Gibraltar, they still do it. But they wouldn't do it usually on the first day of Yom Tov, they do it on the second day of Yom Tov. But mitzad halacha, you're allowed to even bury on the first day of Yom Tov. Just for logistics reasons, nobody's going to do it here in America, because the Bet HaChaim, the cemetery is so far away, who's going to go? But in Gibraltar, where you could walk 15 minutes and you're there, right? I was present on Yom Tov by burials, which means you would go to the cemetery, walk to the cemetery, and you have a burial on Yom Tov in itself. So if the burial was going to be done on Yom Tov or done at that night time, so then he would be patur from everything. But if it's only going to be the next day, that same night he's going to be obligated in everything. The last Mishna Berura, the last part of the Mishna Berura, the kittel, right? We're talking about now the kittel, right? This is for Ashkenazim. Nagu shelo lilvosh, mikom makom alovesh u'mechim yado. So it says they don't have the minhag of putting on this kittel, which is, the white long garb, right? They have the minhag of not wearing it. I'm not sure exactly why. Here he quotes a Bach and Shachronim. I would have to actually check why, right? But somebody that does wear it, they're not going to rebuke him. I don't know exactly what was the machloket over there. I would have to look it up to see what would be why wouldn't you be able to wear a kittel? I'm saying they usually put it on, whether it's for Shana Kippur, they put it on for the wedding, they put it on for certain occasions, but there has to be something a little bit deeper there. So Bezrat Hashem, that we'll be able to do another time. Okay, so Bezrat Hashem, that was the first of the shiurim that we just did. We will continue Bezrat Hashem a little bit. Obviously, we'll try to keep in touch, but Bezrat Hashem, we'll see what happens.